Okay, so this tutorial is going to show how you can download topographic images for sites outside of the United States. So far in the class, I've only showed you guys how to download DEM images, digital elevation models, just for the United States. But for the few of you who are looking at sites internationally, there has not been a good resource for that stuff until, but I'm just going to show you that right now, and that's actually the Earth Explorer. .usgs.gov. This website here, you can download, I think, topographic information for most sites in the world. Actually, it won't be as detailed as what you could get in the United States, but it's okay for the purposes of, say, like an InfoWorks model or a broad scale regional model. This actually works perfectly fine. And I would encourage everyone, if they need topographic information for international cities or sites, just use this resource here. So in the instance of Armand's project, who has a site in Japan, I'll just show an example real quick. So in earthexplorer.usgs.gov, it gives you a map here. All you need to do is zoom in to the region that you want topographic information for. So in his case, he is looking at this coastal area of Japan. Let me see if I can find his site. Yeah, that's his site right there. So what I'm going to do is, what you want to do is just basically click on the map the extents of the area that you want topographic information for. And you can click as many of these corner points as you need to. In this case, I'll just do 4. And then when you're done with that, you want to click in the sidebar here, the datasets button. And then you want to go to the digital elevation line in the column here. And then you want to click on the Aster Global DEM checkbox there. It's going to give you some things to click OK to. But once you have that checked, you go to results. And one thing I want to mention is that before you do anything else, you're probably going to need to set up a USGS account in order to download this information. It's free, so if it might ask you to set up a sign-in or something like that, and you just need to set up an account to do that. It should be pretty straightforward, actually. And so what we're going to do here is you can see here, if you click on the little JPEG image right next to the thumbnail, it shows you a snapshot of what the image is. And as you can see, it's not going to be at the super small resolution that you could potentially get from the United States, but it's good enough, it's detailed, and it's perfectly fine if you're just cutting contours at a regional scale or doing an analysis at that regional scale. So I want both of these. This one here is more of the inland area here, and then this image here is the site or more along the coast. So what I'll do is I'll basically just click on the download button next to the download on here. It's going to ask you to download the standard format, which is fine. Just click on that. It's going to ask you to agree to something. Just agree to it. Return to Earth Explorer, and I'm going to download this guy here. Download. So you download these 2 files here. It's going to go into your downloads folder. So I'll just show in folder here. So it's these 2 zip files right here. I'll just unzip both those guys. Extract all. Now extract all of this one. Okay, so then you have all these image files. So what you want to do is you want to bring these image files into your main GIS folder database structure. So I have in my GIS world folder a Japan folder. So I'll make a new folder in the Japan folder. I'll call it Aster DEM, because that's the source of this DEM imagery. Now I'm just gonna like cut and paste all these images into one folder. That just makes it easier to actually add the images in GIS when you're ready to use them. Okay. Oh, the README file is the same for both these, so I'll just replace, I guess. Okay. So once that's set up, all you need to do is, you're done with that, go into GIS. And then what I'll do is in GIS, I will add those images. First what I'll do is actually add a base map. So I'll just go into add base map here, and I'll add a imagery map in the background. And then what I'll do is I'll zoom into the site that Japan is located at. It's kind of slow on me. There it is. And then I'll add both of those raster data sets. So add data, and my data is saved in my Dropbox. And you're only going to want, you see like there's two types of data. It's the score DEM, then the score NUM. You actually only need the score DEM. So I'm just going to control select those two guys and add them. It's going to ask you to build pyramids. That's okay. And so that's your raster data set brought into GIS. Now, what you see here is that there is actually brought in as two separate raster files, but let's say you want to cut contours for this entire area as one piece. You actually need to create what's known as a Mosaic data set. So now you see what these are. I'm just going to remove these for now. I'm going to go to the Arc Toolbox on the side. I'm going to go to Data Management, Raster, Mosaic Data Set, and I'm going to click on Create Mosaic Data Set. It's going to ask for an output location. Now you're going to need to set the Geodatabase as an output location. So usually when you make an ArcMap document, you will probably have a default Geodatabase location set somewhere in your Documents folder. It's usually in some folder where you have your main ArcGIS folder. If you don't have a Geodatabase folder set up, you're going to need to create a Geodatabase. I'm going to just quickly show that just because I don't want anyone to get confused about that. Let's say you need to create a new Geodatabase. Let's say in my Dropbox folder here, I want to create a new Geodatabase. I right click on the folder, I click on New, and click on New Personal Geodatabase. And just call it whatever you want, in this case Japan. So now you have a Geodatabase. Now in Create Mosaic Dataset, double click on that, output location. I'm going to go to my Dropbox, World, where is it? Actually, it's right here in my forum folder. So just click on that Geodatabase right here, MDB. And then give the Mosaic dataset name. So I'll call this Japan DEM. The coordinate system, I just use the default coordinate system that's already set on the map. So the way you can do that is just go to click on the Layers button, or Layers Lab in the coordinate system menu, and just click on the WGS 1984 Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere, which is the coordinate system of the base map actually. So when that's done, just click OK. And then you'll see a data set pop up on the sidebar in a second. Okay, there it is. Now there's nothing in it yet because we didn't put any data sets in there yet, so we're going to have to add mosaics or add rasters to the Mosaic data set. So in the same Arc Toolbox folder, there's this thing called Add Rasters to Mosaic data set. Double click on that. In the first line, drag the Mosaic data set into the first line there. In the raster type, you're going to want to set that to just leave it as raster data set. In input data, you want to click on data set as your type of data, and then click on this little folder right here, and then just find the rasters that you want to add to this data set. In this case, it's going to be these two DEM images. So just control select both of those guys, click add, and that should be it. One thing I usually do when let me see, I click this button called Update Overviews right here. This just makes it so that when you zoom in and out of the map, it always has a preview of that final image. Whatever, I mean, just check that box. And then just click OK. And then wait for it to produce itself. And there you go. And so now you have a seamless raster data set. And so now you can, let me just turn it off for a second, zoom in to say a region that you want to cut contours for. And again, you can also bring both those rasters into InfoWorks, and you can build a model out of that. So let me try to find the site that was Armand's project. Okay, so that's it right there. I'm just going to add a little marker so I don't forget where it's located. I'm going to zoom out to an extent of an area that I want to cut contours for. Let's say maybe that area. And then I'll just simply go to the Arc Toolbox, go to 3D Analyst, go to Raster Surface, Contour. You guys know this by now. Drag in the DEM Mosaic dataset line up here into the raster. Raster line here. Leave the output polyline in the default, whatever it is. I'll set the contours to 10 or something. Remember, these units are in meters, so that's 10 meters. So it's pretty big contour. Set my environment to the processing extent to be same as display, so it only cuts contours for the viewport we see here. Then click OK. Yep, and there you go. So now if I turn off the image in the background, you see these are now contours for that site. And then you can do all the stuff that we've done previously, which is give elevation values to this and export to Rhino, or bring these rasters into Inforx to build a Inforx model. So.